Teachers at the Academy are experts in their discipline. Most of them have master's degrees in the particular field that they're teaching. But they also really love kids and love thinking about how people learn. So they're this wonderful mixture of content expertise with love of students and a real fascination with the learning process. The other thing is that teachers here are very committed to helping an individual student find their joy and passion in what they're learning. So there's a lot of individual work with kids outside of class and a lot of differentiation in the sense of knowing that kids sometimes learn at different rates.
To speak about student wellness, I think it's important to speak a little bit about the context of where we are now and tell you a little bit about where we're going. So currently, we have 5 counselors. We have 1 in 6-7, 2 in 8-9, and 2 in 10-12. And each of us have prioritized really normalizing that this is a time of change. We're all adapting, and that it's normal to have a sense of fluctuating emotions. We've been working hard to establish for our community to know that we're just a part of the support here at the Academy. There doesn't need to be any significant issue or concern for a student to meet with us. We're here to meet with all students, and one of our goals is to make sure that we meet with every student one-on-one. We look to help students build awareness of their states and how they're doing, and also to be able to reflect on what someone else might need and how they're doing. How do we build communication? How do we learn to problem solve together? How do we accept our differences and learn and grow? So these are some overarching things that you would expect to for your student to be influenced by during their time at the Academy.
The College Guidance Program is designed to be an all-encompassing guidance and education program to help students and families on all stages of the college admission and application process. Although we do work with students throughout all ages, our department lives in the 10-12 division. We mostly work with the upper students, starting in 10th grade, 11th grade, and then in 12th grade most rigorously. We have a program called College Knowledge Seminars, which begin in 10th grade, and students have regular contact with college admission officers and the college guidance staff that will help them navigate the different things that they must learn and figure out and educate them on the process, starting most intensely in 10th grade. Trends in college admissions are changing by the day, and that's one of the things that we spend a lot of time keeping on top of. For example, this fall, the fall of 2020, twice on the day that we had presentations planned, programs planned, one of the slides changed that day because of new information that we got directly from colleges. So that not only once, but twice this fall, we had to throw away one of the slides in our presentation because it no longer applied. That's how quickly things can change. Colleges are trying to figure out what their footing is, what their process is, how they're going to do what they do in the midst of this pandemic, and consequently are redoing things, changing procedures, changing policies. The key is that the College Guidance Office keeps in touch with colleges across the country in our regional associations, in our national associations, and in individual relationships with college admission officers. And we find out what the changes are, what the trends are, so that we can inform students, inform parents, redo policies, start over in some processes because they've been done differently and have changed that quickly. So what the trend is, ask me tomorrow, because today's trend is going to be different that quickly.
So diversity, equity, and inclusion for us is not just being a diverse, having a diverse population, but it goes beyond that to being a place where all students can be themselves, where they can express and explore their interests, where they can get a good education, of course, but where they can feel like they truly belong. So belonging is an important step beyond just diversity, equity, inclusion. Diversity, equity, and inclusion aren't just things that we can just check off as accomplishments that the school has done. They're things that take constant practice and continual effort across the whole community. And in addition to our mission, our commitment to diversity and inclusion statement offers even more guidance beyond our mission about having an environment where everyone can thrive regardless of their background. So new this year, we have some classes for 7th and 9th graders. So for the 9th graders, we have a diversity and inclusion workshop. And for 7th graders, we have a more regular year-long diversity, equity, and inclusion class. Additionally, we have many opportunities for students to explore their interests, whether it's through affinity groups like the Hispanic Student Association or the Jewish Student Association, or participate in groups such as the Sexuality and Gender Alliance or the Student Diversity Leadership Club. We also offer the students lots of opportunities to participate and attend forums and conferences, both locally and nationally. For faculty and staff, we have professional development comes in lots of different forms. It can vary from full day in-services to webinars or smaller workshops to even most recently book study groups. For parents, we have 4 different multicultural parent councils: African American Parent Council, Asian Parent Council, Hispanic Parent Council, and Native American Parent Council. And those councils are great organizations where parents, families can gather together, can connect with each other with other families from similar backgrounds, where they can network and learn about the school, support each other, and even participate in the life of the school as well.
So leadership is kind of a common component in all of our programming. So we really start that out with encouraging a lot of self-leadership with students. So as they're learning these different skills, beginning in 6th and 7th grade, the outdoor travel, outdoor living skills, taking care of themselves, self-care is a big part of it. So that self-leadership is kind of one of the cornerstones of being a successful outdoors person. So as students get more into that, and we do this in our 9th grade trips and in our outdoor pursuits and our outdoor leadership classes, which are electives in high school, we review those things so students really feel solid in their own skills. That's a really important component before we can lead others in the outdoors, that we feel really comfortable with our own skills, almost to the point where we don't really have to think about it so much. So we start to see that in the 9th grade program. It's a magical time in the 9th grade trip where the leaders start to become peripheral. The students really take ownership of their own learning. They've been out there for a couple days, and it's so cool to look around and see them really taking ownership of the trip and knowing what to do at different points, knowing what to do when we get to camp, knowing what to do the next morning when we pack up and get ready to leave. So that self-leadership is really kicking in. And then for those students who decide to pursue it more, we have opportunities in 10-12, elective opportunities. They can take a skills-based class, which kind of focuses more on those hard skills, rock climbing, paddling, mountain biking, and then we also have a focused program in outdoor leadership where students will learn the teaching skills necessary to help lead their peers on actual trips. So we really try to focus on authentic leadership, initially with the self-leadership and then into leading peers.
So when students come to Academy, some of them have had a lot of experience engaging in their communities and doing volunteer work with their families or with their church or youth groups, and some have had no experience at all. And we want to make sure that when every student graduates from Albuquerque Academy, that they have had numerous opportunities to engage in the community that's outside of our campus, in the community that's around us. So we want to make sure students understand the role that nonprofits play in our community and the role that they can play even as young people in engaging in the world around them and participating in our greater community. So we have students volunteering, we have students doing fundraisers for local organizations, we have students doing outreach for different organizations. Some of these activities are required as part of their education, and many of them are students who go far above and beyond our requirements, engage in ways that they are passionate about and that they want to help.
The summer curriculum aligns well to the Academy regular school year curriculum in many ways. Students starting in 8th grade have an opportunity to access credit classes or classes for credit in the areas of U.S. history, Algebra 1, geometry, chemistry, biology, and computer science. Oftentimes these students are taking these classes to fulfill credit requirements so they can go on and take a different track, or to fulfill those credits that they needed to access other learning opportunities.
If I were a parent who has a child with a diagnosed learning difference, I would not hesitate to apply to Albuquerque Academy. I would ask myself the following questions as I'm wondering about, is the Academy, could it possibly be a good fit for my child, knowing that if my child is already diagnosed with a learning difference, he or she may have struggled in elementary school or through middle school, depending on what year my child might be applying for. And I would answer the question this way and give you some thoughts to think about. Absolutely, you should apply if your child is intellectually curious, loves to learn, enjoys many different curiosities about life, and has an eagerness to push themselves in an academic and social, emotional, and creative way. The Academy is an excellent fit for children who have diagnosed learning differences, and it is challenging for children with diagnosed learning differences to be here, and yet we also have the supports in place to help them grow into the little ups and downs that they may experience. So I guess if I were really, like as a parent, what I would most want to know is, can my child be supported? The answer is yes. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Peterson Learning Support Program, which is our program that we're so happy to have on our campus that supports students with diagnosed learning differences, as well as students who might be struggling at our school for a wide variety of reasons. Sometimes it's an adjustment period to our school because we have kids, fortunately, that come from schools all over our city and the country, or they may be going through an emotional experience in their life where they need a little help academically. There's so many reasons why a student might be struggling, but we try our best to work with as many students as we can, not just students with diagnosed learning differences. One of the goals of our Peterson Learning Support Program is to help all of the students that cross our paths to become as independent as they possibly can be by the end of their academy career. And what that independence looks like is that they are able to share with a teacher what their learning strengths are and what their challenges are, so they're not feeling shy anymore by the time they're seniors and ready to go off to college, about just who they are with pride. And then the second thing is that they're able to advocate for themselves and ask for the accommodations that they need to show their best work and shine, because we really believe inside every single student is an ability to shine and with their great brightness, regardless of what their learning profile is. The strengths and the weaknesses together allow the students to be exactly who they are in such a beautiful way. And that is at the heart of the Peterson Learning Support Program.
Our program funds students every year from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds, from families whose resources are insufficient for them to attend without some kind of financial support. Every year we admit students and also help returning students to re-enroll with our generous financial assistance budget. This past year, or actually for this current year, we awarded about $4.8 million in tuition assistance funds. That meant an average grant was about $17,000. Without this tuition assistance funding, our community would look very different. We enable students from a diverse levels of socioeconomic status to enroll and fully participate in the school community. We have a separate application that's entirely housed on a platform apart from the admissions process, and it's called School and Student Services. You'll start an application by creating a profile on that platform, and then that's followed by an extensive questionnaire that wants specific details about your financial circumstances. That information is important and necessary because all the financial assistance at Albuquerque Academy is based on financial need. A family is expected to pay according to their means, and if there's not enough to cover the tuition assistance, then grants will help fund the difference between what a family can pay and the full tuition amount. And another thing to reassure you, the tuition assistance application is entirely kept apart from your child's admission decision process, and so the admissions team will be unaware of your family's financial circumstances. This is called need-blind admission, and it will result in an admission decision for your child that is made independent of what your family's what your family's ability to pay is. But if you have any questions about the application process or what's necessary for your family to complete your file, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to schedule an appointment with you. We can do it over Zoom right now, and we can go over the specifics in your family circumstances.